Howdy folks, welcome back to Small Farm Guys. Today we're working on, in the comments they would say call him cameraman, but we're working on Aiden's girlfriend's car. That's a mouthful. We got to do her spark plugs, oil change, and a valve cover gasket. Spark plugs and coil packs, so we'll walk you through how to do all of that. And we're going to do the valve cover gasket because it's leaking. Alright, so first step, get your 10mm, the hardest socket to find, and go ahead and loosen up your ground on your battery because we're going to take that out so you don't get shocked. Alright, get that off and get it out of the way so it doesn't touch anything. So next step, once you disconnect your batteries, is to take and go ahead and push down on this little clip and pull back. Okay, you don't have to mark them because they only go so far, so you can't really put them on the wrong ones. And then we're going to get our 5/16 out, and we're going to take these bolts and we're going to loosen them up. I'd suggest waiting until the car's cooled down a little bit, but you know how people are nowadays, they're hot to trot. So these bolts are still nice and warm. So by the time this is done, hopefully everything's cooled off. Keep their bolts because the coil packs may or may not come with new bolts, so just keep your old ones just in case. And you can go ahead and wiggle these. And then pull up on them. That's a problem. So take your old coil packs out. So for the coil, once you get the coils out, then just go ahead and remove this piece, and it's just a little plug that's in there. It comes up. Just don't want to pull on it too hard, but you can just get a screwdriver under there gently and pull this up, this cover up out of the way. And then this one you just want to push on this center tab and slide it right up. Alright, so next step for taking the valve cover off is we want to remove these little plugs. So just get your handy dandy screwdriver here and just pry them up. And then same with back here. Get it in. You can hook it in these little holes here. Just pry up, get all these things loose, and so they're out of the way. So we got this little hose back here. There's a little clip on the back side that you just have to pick up on. Actually, here, you can see it here. You just have to take on the back side there, just pick up on this, and then it slides right up and out of the way. We don't want to take this side off though, because we want this side off. So take that off, just like that. So Aiden's girlfriend's gonna love this, but we're just gonna rip this heat shield out of the way. Don't need that. And then we're gonna take this line here, take it out of our clip, and we're gonna take it out of the way. So these clips are funny. You gotta push down on them, and then you gotta try to push in on the sides. There's little white pieces that I'll show you. So what you gotta push in, you gotta try to squeeze those white pieces in. So we'll twist this up out of the way. Improvise, adapt, overcome. Alright, so then we gotta take this clip, clamp, whatever, piece of metal out of the way. It's a half-inch bolt back here, tucked away behind the wires. I don't know if my cameraman's doing a good job or not. Oh, this is hot. Be careful, that's right next to the exhaust manifold, so it's hot. Don't lose this bolt. Shorty. So now that this is loose, gives you some room to sneak out your valve cover. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and remove this sensor now. Again, it's got one of those push down and pull clips, but they're real nice when they're hot. And we're going to just take all of these off just to give ourselves some more play in this harness so we can sneak the valve cover out of underneath it. Now that should give us enough room to sneak that valve cover out underneath it. And then don't forget this little one here. So now that should give us plenty of room to sneak this valve cover out of the way. So then we'll go ahead, now that we got all this stuff taken off, we'll go ahead and we'll take all the valve cover bolts off. So we're just gonna go ahead and loosen up these bolts here for your valve cover. And then we'll take them off. It's the Where's Waldo game now. And now we gotta get our longer extension. And now the one that's gonna be a real pain in the ass. And then we can go ahead and take this sensor out. And these are all 5/16 bolts too, by the way, so don't lose these. And then just pull that sensor out. So now that we got all these loosened, don't forget this one and this one. They're kind of buried, and if it's leaking or has oil down there, they're easy to miss. So don't forget them, otherwise you'll be over here prying and prying and prying and you're not getting anywhere. Once you got all the bolts loose, you can find out in a real hurry. Just take your little stubby screwdriver here and use it and just pry up, and you can see where get the valve cover to come up. So then grab a bigger one. There you go. And just pop her loose on all four corners and she should come out pretty easy. So we're gonna make sure all the bolts are completely out and loose. There's a few of them that aren't yet. Alright, so next step, now that the valve cover's all nice and loose here, we're gonna have your cameraman, because I know everybody's got those, hold up your wires for you here so you can then just, you know, everything's gotta work, and then it's gotta not work on you. Alright, and then just slide it up out of the way. One set of bolts at a time. Alright, so we got valve cover and gasket off. We're just going to replace both of them. Went around and cleaned up where all the mating surfaces, so that way it's nice and clean. And then we'll go ahead and install the gaskets into the valve cover, and then while I have it open, we'll just throw the new spark plugs in, and away we go. So open up your gaskets, you can get them, and you just place them in. Make sure you get them around there. You can tell what ones are what. Just sneak them around, push them in. Make sure they're seated down nice. They are somewhat molded. Get it all placed in there, and then we will flip it over and we'll stick it on in. So now that we got our gasket in, and we cleaned up our surface, we're going to hold these lines up out of the way, take it, and they actually hold in pretty decent, so you shouldn't have to worry about them. Make sure you got it on the right way. We're taking, we're going to slide it in carefully. Carefully slide it in so you don't snag any gaskets. Use your cameraman or a second person. You could do this by yourself, but it'd be easier with a second person for sure. And she sits right down once the holes line up. And I would just start by putting these top center ones in. So when I go around and get them all started. Alright, so once you get it on, you can feel it kind of seat itself down. And then just go ahead and tighten it down until it seats itself down. And then you want to go just a little bit past it. Don't want to break the bolts, but you want to make sure they're tight. Alright, so now we're going to reinstall this sensor. So just slide it back in and tighten her down. Put that back in. You can go ahead and reinstall your little clips here once you get everything tightened down. And reinstall this little plug there. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll pull out the spark plugs or put this bolt back in. Now we take our new coil pack here, and you gotta line it up with the spark plug and just gently push it down until it clicks on. And take your 5/16 and go ahead and reinstall them in. Alright, once you have your coil packs installed, just take and reconnect your wires onto here. Make sure you get them in the right spots. So once you get your spark plugs and coil packs put in, your wires reconnected, then go ahead and put your hose in that you took off. Click it in, push up your clamp so it locks back into place, and then these aren't going to fit because they're now normal bolts, but it don't matter. That doesn't matter if it's loose or not. But yep, that's how you do your valve cover gasket on your 2010 Ford Focus. Alright you guys, thanks for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.